Hello legal hustlers. In today's video we will delve into the Bernard Shaw novel story Saint John. Saint John is a play written by George Bernard Shaw, first performed in 1923. It presents the story of Joan of Arc, a young French peasant girl who claimed divine inspiration and led the French army to several victories during the Hundred Years' War. Shaw's interpretation of Joan's life and the events surrounding her trial and execution provides a thought-provoking exploration of faith, politics, and the nature of heroism. Theme: Faith and Belief. Shaw explores the power of faith and belief in shaping individuals and societies. Joan's unwavering belief in her divine mission contrasts with the skepticism and cynicism of those around her. Heroism and Sacrifice. The play examines the nature of heroism and the sacrifices required of those who challenge the status quo. Joan's bravery in the face of adversity and her willingness to sacrifice herself for her cause are central themes. Politics and Power. Shaw highlights the political machinations and power struggles underlying Joan's story. The play depicts the manipulation of religious and secular authority for personal and political gain. The plot of Saint John follows Joan of Arc's journey from her humble beginnings in Domremy to her trial and execution for heresy. It portrays her interactions with various historical figures, including Charles VII, the Inquisitor, and English noblemen like Warwick and Cochan. The play explores Joan's military victories, her trial for heresy, and her eventual martyrdom. Throughout the plot, Shaw raises questions about the nature of Joan's visions, the motivations of those who oppose her, and the role of faith in shaping history. Joan was born on January 6, 1412, in the village of Domremy to Jacques and Isabelle d'Arc. She was the youngest of their 5 children, and until the age of 13 she was like any other child. As she grew older, she began to hear voices, which she explained as the voices of the saints Margaret and Catherine, telling her to save her country France, to raise the siege of Orleans, and to drive out the English from her native land. As she grew older, the voices became more persistent. So she left home and went to the neighboring town of Vaucouleurs, where she wants to meet Robert de Baudricourt as a nobleman who hails from Lorraine. At the start of the play, Baudricourt complains to his steward that the hens have stopped producing eggs at his castle. Complaint to steward. His steward informs him that Joan of Arc, whom he refers to as the maid, has been waiting to see him for 2 days, claiming that her voices are urging her to lift the siege of Orleans and crown the Dauphin in Reims Cathedral. Initially, Baudricourt ridicules Joan's claims and refuses to take her seriously. However, his steward, inspired by Joan's words, suggests that the hens won't lay eggs until Baudricourt agrees to see her. This idea seems preposterous to Baudricourt, but as the steward persists and the pressure mounts, he agrees to meet Joan. Joan enters and tells Baudricourt about her visions and voices guiding her to free France from England's invasion. She also has plans for the coronation of Dauphin of France. Dauphin was the title given to the heir to the throne of France, and provide her with armor, a horse, and soldiers. Reluctant at first, later Baudricourt finally agreed to send her to the Dauphin, at the castle of Chinon. Joan dressed in men's clothing and is accompanied by 2 soldiers, Bertrand de Poulengy and Monsieur John of Metz. With them Joan leaves. Joan reaches the Dauphin at his castle in Chinon, in Touraine. She informs him that she has been sent by God to drive the English out of France and crown him king. Joan talks her way into being received at the court of the weak and vain Dauphin. There, she tells him that her voices have commanded her to help him become a true king by rallying his troops to drive out the English occupiers and restore France to greatness. Joan succeeds in doing this through her excellent powers of flattery, negotiation, leadership, and skill on the battlefield. Joan and her army arrive at Orleans on April 29, 1429. There, she meets Denvaux, the bastard of Orleans, who advises caution before attacking the English across the river. Despite initial hesitance, Joan's unwavering confidence and faith inspire Denvaux to gather the forces. Together, they pray for a change in the wind direction, a crucial factor for their strategy. Miraculously, the wind changes, convincing Denvaux of Joan's divine connection. With renewed faith, they prepare to engage the English forces. At an English camp, John de Stogumber, the Earl of Warwick, and the Bishop of Beauvais discuss Joan's victories. They fear her influence as she claims to receive divine guidance, which challenges their authority. They conclude she must be a witch and decide she must die to maintain their power. After crowning Dauphin as King Charles VII at Reims Cathedral, Joan learns of her unpopularity at court for exposing incompetence. Despite considering returning home, she suggests continuing to fight and drive the English out of Paris, shocking Charles, who desires immediate peace negotiations. Joan faces accusations of pride and obstinacy. Realizing she stands alone against her enemies, Cochon and Warwick discuss Joan's threat to their institutions, with Cochon believing she's guilty of heresy and Warwick fearing her political ideologies. They agree Joan must be stopped. Joan has been captured by the English and is on trial for heresy. Stogumber, the chaplain, is adamant that she should be executed at once. But, Brother John Lemaitre, the Inquisitor, the Bishop of Beauvais, Cochon, and the church officials on both sides of the trial discuss at length about the nature of Joan's heresy. They give time to Joan to repent, to recant, to say that whatever I was telling till now that I can directly communicate with God, that I am all powerful, it is all wrong, I was lying. But Joan refuses to change her decision. She says that she indeed hears voices from God. But when she learns that if she would sign a document, she would be saved from punishment. In a rush, she signs the document. She discovers that this would only save her from death, rather she would be imprisoned for life. Angrily, she tears the document apart, exclaiming, "You think that life is nothing but not being dead. It is not the bread and water I fear. I can live on bread. But to shut me from the light of the sky and the sight of the fields and flowers. To make me breathe foul damp darkness, without these things I cannot live. And by your wanting to take them away from me, or from any human creature, I know that your counsel is of the devil." Soon, Joan's decision to reject her recantation demonstrates another act of reasoning. She weighs the pros and cons of her options and prefers dying rather than spending the rest of her days rotting in jail. Following this, the Joan of Arc is burnt at stake, except for her heart, which the executioner reveals couldn't be destroyed. Stogumber, the chaplain who wanted Joan to be burnt instantly, feels grave pain looking at the actual burning at stake. He informs Warwick and Cochon that an English soldier offered Joan a cross before her burning. Brother Martin Ledwenu, a young Dominican priest, also approaches Joan to give her a cross. But when the flames increase, Joan orders Ledwenu to back away and protect himself. This act of selflessness makes Ledwenu believe that Joan was inspired not by the devil but by God.
Thank you for watching. We're thrilled to have you here and hope that you find our content informative, engaging, and entertaining. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to join us for further updates.